This is Bump and Beyond with Yolandi Becker is brought to you with compliments of Discam Baby City.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Slightly late this morning, but isn't that an omen for this time of the year? My internet went down just as we went live, so it's fun. If you just joined me, as always, it's Wednesday and it's with me, Yolandi Becker, and this is Bump and Beyond, and we are talking parenting. Like I said, I don't know about you, but I'm running on fumes. I am getting super ready for holiday and taking a break, because how it is possible to still function, especially in this heat, I do not know, but it is fun. And like I said, started a little bit late because that is exactly it. So many things happening, but we're dealing with it like experts because we are mothers. So we're equipped to deal with unexpected situations and we don't need to worry about it. Today's show is something nice though, luckily, and I think it might help relax us a little bit, hopefully. But as always, like I said, we are talking parenting, and today specifically I want to talk about, have you noticed all over Joburg and Pretoria and Gauteng, I think probably in Cape Town as well, I haven't been there to really explore it, but baby spas are popping up all over the place. And I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, baby spa? What the hell is a baby spa? What is the next person going to think of? And who is paying money for the baby to go to a spa? I was hoping that you could drop off your baby there, leave them there for like 4 or 5 hours, and then you could come back and fetch them again. That is not the case. Baby spas are actually what we refer to as hydrotherapy. So it's actually an activity for your child to, function within. We're going to learn more about it. Let me not spoil the fun for it. But when my kids, and my kids are now 9 and 12, and when they were small, there was no such thing that I was aware of. But my children did start swimming quite early. I mean, the main reason for it is we had a pool and I wanted my kids to be water safe as soon as possible. So I'm now talking, they started swimming when they were like 3 months, but I mean, this is like spending time with them in the water, and you would teach them to hold their breath when they went under the water. This is actually quite a big survival skill to teach children, because kids actually have the ability to hold their breath when they are submerged in water, but they lose that ability after a time. And that's something I learned from the swimming classes that I did. This is not something I knew. And in the end of the day, actually exposing them to water helps that when they do go into the water, it's not about teaching them to swim when they're 3 months old. It's about teaching them the ability to actually hold their breath when they are submerged in water, because that is how toddlers drown within 2 seconds when they fall, because they immediately gulp water and then it goes into their lungs, and unfortunate things can happen when this happens. So this is what it was about, is that just to keep them safe in that way. I always had a fence around it. I didn't allow my children to go to houses that did not have a fence around the pool, because I was so vigilant about it. And this is also another message I want to share. But as I said, as always, I am actually here to talk about hydrotherapy and the benefits it gave my children to be exposed to water at such an early age was great. And the thing I've learned though is that you can start with it even earlier than 3 months. And it has certain benefits. But here to talk to me today about those benefits is biokineticist and mother of 2 and owner of Baby Bubble Spa, Tindall the Brouwer. Hello, Tindall.
Hello.
Okay. We are going to talk about hydrotherapy after our ad break.
This is Bump and Beyond with Yolandi Becker is brought to you with compliments of Discam Baby City.
Yes, you are on 101.9 High FM with me, Yolandi Becker, your host of Bump and Beyond, our parenting show where we talk about all things parenting. And as I mentioned just before the ad break, today specifically we're talking about a fun but also interesting and relevant topic because, again, baby spas popping up all over the place. And it's important to know why this is a nice thing to do with your child, what it entails, and what the benefits are of doing something like that. And as I mentioned, baby expert now here today, biokineticist and mother of two, Tindall the Brouwer. Hello, Tindall again.
Good morning, Yolandi, and good morning, viewers or listeners.
Yes. Sorry. No, it's also you can see me, so you can view me. So yes, like I said, for me, it's a very interesting topic because, again, a couple of years ago, I can't recall that there was any such thing as a baby spa. And again, like I said, naively or ignorantly, when I saw it the first time, there was judgment in me.
And can I just say that the first baby spa started by Laura Sevenis in 2010.
So there was actually a baby spa.
So it's been since 2010, but only in the last couple of years, I'll say 5 years globally, it started taking off. And in South Africa, I'll say the last 2 or 3 years, more and more baby spas has come to life. But when I saw the concept, I honestly, with you, which said, why would you want to take your baby to a baby spa? I didn't realize people saw it like that, to be honest, because I'm a biokineticist and I've seen what water does for in cases of kids with cerebral palsy, with Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's, cardiovascular diseases. And when I saw there was something like this for a baby, I was so excited because I've seen what it does in clinical practice. And at the time I was pregnant and I was like, wow, like a baby can actually get these benefits as well. So when I started Baby Bubble, I actually didn't realize the majority of people feel like you.
The passion was just there. But I mean, that brings me to maybe the first question is because now you're talking so passionately about how it started and why you enjoy and support this whole concept. But what is hydrotherapy?
So hydrotherapy is basically the use of water for therapeutic benefits. But I'm going to focus specifically on babies. So it's actually very well researched, and there's a lot of scientific research behind the benefits of hydrotherapy, although there's not a lot, I want to say, talk about it in practice, and it's not used enough in clinical practice. And can I continue on to the benefits?
Yeah, of course.
Because I think that's that's what everybody wants to know. Are you just going for the baby to relax, and why would a baby want to relax? And but
in water, you're relaxing water hydrotherapy.
Yes. Why would you want to go do that? And there's actually a lot of, it's got to do with physiology and the effect that water has on physiology. So water has very unique properties which you can't replicate in air. One of those properties is hydrostatic pressure. So that's that gentle squeezing effect you feel when you jump into the pool and your ears close. That's hydrostatic pressure, right? Mm-hmm. Now, every centimeter.
Right, I know what you're talking about.
Every centimeter you go down in water, that hydrostatic pressure becomes more and more. And with the babies, when they perform hydrotherapy in the baby spa with a device we call a floaty, in that vertical position, the hydrostatic pressure is more than what the diastolic blood pressure is. So what it means in layman's terms, it squeezes blood from all over the body to the heart. So essentially, you've got a larger volume of blood in your heart, and with each beat, your heart functions more efficiently. So it's very similar to when you go for a light or moderate aerobic exercise or for like a walk. Yeah. You literally get that by standing in water up until neck level, and it's the same for a baby. But what you need to remember that in a baby, the physiology is very immature versus us. So the effects are so much more profound. So literally with baby just floating in the water, their cardiovascular system is functioning more efficiently, and you've got similar benefits as to what you would have when you go for a light walk and you enjoy running so much.
Yeah.
So so from the cardiovascular angle. Then also you've got that pressure against the lungs. So while baby is floating in the water, they're actually breathing against resistance. And research has found that the effort that goes into breathing increases up to 60% when you immerse in water up until neck level.
Oh, wow.
And it's also, you've got a large amount of blood that gets shunted to the lungs, which means that there's better oxygen delivery and waste product removal. So overall, the efficiency of baby's physiology is like improving. And that's the exciting part about water. And we use that, as I said, for cardiovascular diseases, pulmonary diseases, and now you've got your little baby, and now you can boost their development by doing this sort of thing. Furthermore, you've got that pressure against the tummy. So a lot of moms come usually more for the reason to get some digestive relief from the hydrotherapy sessions. So you've got the pressure against the tummy, you've got the heat of the water, and you've got the movement of their legs. So it's like a triple whammy to get rid of gas.
Yeah.
So moms generally say that after the sessions, the little ones are more windy because they're getting rid of the gas and stuff.
Yeah.
It is a conservative method. So, it's, I'll say in the sense of, it's not going to take away from what your pediatrician or, whatever is prescribing. But it definitely is, it's an add-on. So you don't have to
and it's a very natural kind of way. They're used to being in water in your belly and all that stuff. So it's nice for them.
Also, it is. And also with the heat of the water, it activates their parasympathetic nervous system. So that's the part of your nervous system that helps you relax, like you had just said. So can I give you an example? If you had to bump your toe on a stressful day, it feels much more painful and you feel much more agitated, right? Whereas if you bump your toe after you've just gone for a nice massage or whatever, it doesn't, you can handle a little bit better. It's the same with the little ones. So when they undergo digestive discomfort, when they are overwhelmed with this sensory world, which is very new to them and their immature nervous systems, if we can activate that parasympathetic nervous system, they are generally pretty calmer for about 24 to 48 hours after the session, which is also, something which any mom...
It's a benefit.
It is a benefit. It is a benefit. I actually had a mom, she always used to come on Wednesdays. And she said she loved coming on Wednesdays. She was happy about the other benefits, but the only reason she came is because she knew directly afterwards her baby would sleep. So she could pull out an hour afterwards, sit in the coffee shop and just have a little me time.
Sign me up for that. Unfortunately, it's baby spa, not adult spa. But for those of you who haven't seen what it also looks like, it's very beneficial to go look at Baby Bubbles. Also, their social media pages is very nice, informative videos and things like that as well. If you've just joined us, this is Bump and Beyond. I am your host, Yolandi Becker, and today we are talking about hydrotherapy with biokineticist Tindall the Brouwer. Of course, as always, I do want you to be part of the conversation, so you are allowed to send us some questions. If you have questions about going to a baby spa, if you've been there, if you've seen the benefits that Tindall was just talking about, please do contact us. You can, of course, send us a telegram on 061-895-1019, or you can SMS us at 34519. SMSs are charged at R1.50. If you feel so inclined, you can, of course, also send an email at info or in studio at chaifm.com, and we would love to hear your insights on this. Like I said, I didn't have that benefit, but I've seen it as well. It's beautiful. It's like, the space that you have is really beautiful as well, and it's like a little, I want to say jacuzzi without the bubbles.
Yeah, it does not have bubbles. It's a pot.
It's a pot. You call it a pot, I call it a giant jacuzzi.
We'll say it's a modified one.
Okay.
Because you can't have that big pump because it's and you can't have bubbles because
and then the baby is put into this floating, and I mean, as a mom, you don't get into your next because you're right next to the pod.
That's right.
So you don't have to get into a bikini or whatever. I don't know. Do you allow them to get inside? No, it's not hygienic.
No, the moms actually don't like it because then they feel like the water's not sanitary if someone else was in it.
So then the baby is like floating around, and they've got this special like neck floaty thing. What do you call it? Neck floaty.
So we call it a floaty.
Okay.
All right. Basically it allows Bubba to be in a vertical position in the water and move freely. So if you can think of like, this is a very unique situation because you've got a baby who might be able to roll, not yet crawl, and they can actually move from point A to point B unassisted. So it's really like, it's awesome for the little ones, and there's a lot of them that really enjoy this very much. You probably want to know how the floaty works.
Yes, but before that comes now to that point, because now you mentioned they might be rolling, but they're not yet crawling. So what age are we talking about that goes to this time and benefits from this kind of hydrotherapy?
So we prefer that the umbilical cord first falls off and dries before they come, just, from safety purposes. So usually that's at about 2-3 weeks, then you can already start. When they're very young, they might even fall asleep in the pod. So usually 8 weeks and under, they might fall asleep, which is very cute. Moms always want to know, does it still have a benefit even if baby is sleeping? And yes, absolutely. There's still increase of cerebral
Lots of learning happens while babies are sleeping. Yes. I can confirm that.
There we go. You still have the pressure on the lungs, the tummy. Their core muscles still have to be activated. So yes, there's still benefits even when they're sleeping. And then the older they get, they become more active. And then there's also the strengthening element because water offers more resistance than what air does. So it's really, really good to strengthen their little muscles. As hard as what they push against water, it pushes back. So it's almost as if the medium adapts with the strength of the baby. Where, argument's sake, if you go to gym, you've got to lift a heavier dumbbell. In the water, you don't need to do that. But we stop at 6 months. The reason for that is that as the little ones develop body awareness, they actually start to realize that this floaty is not part of their body. So when they're younger, they're not too concerned about it because they haven't developed full body awareness yet. Once they get to 6 months, once they find their feet, they start realizing, but what's this thing around my neck?
They're touching it and they're
touching
moving around.
Play with it. If it's their first time, they might even be scared of it. And then they're like, So we stop at 6 months, for that reason. The second reason is also so this is obviously vertical, but it's for therapeutic reasons. But swimming is horizontal. And we don't want there to be any confusion between swimming and the baby spa. And swimming generally starts at about 6 months. You could start a little bit earlier. So we just want to, it's better just to stop at 6 months. So you won't go later. It's always better though to start earlier.
No, and I mean, that's nice, but I mean, it's also a nice kind of segue then into swimming because then your baby's already used to the water and spending time in the water. So it's a nice introduction to the next phase of that as well.
Absolutely. That's actually the reason why it started. So Laura Sevenis, who's the pioneer of baby spas, she was a big swimmer and she started with this concept, and her husband was an engineer and he designed the first floaty. And the whole purpose was she saw that the little ones did better in baby swimming if they started earlier. So that was the main purpose. But obviously upon starting, there's all these hydrotherapy from the clinical aspect that came into play, which has these awesome benefits. So most of our moms, I must be honest, when they start, they do it because they have water safety, water awareness in mind, and they want to make sure that their little one is comfortable in the water.
And I mean, it really does make a difference. I feel I did it with both. Like I said, I started very early. I wish I could do this spa if only I knew about it. Now I know better. But it's too late. But my kids really enjoy it. My kids are still swimming though. And they started really early. And again, for me, it was also about that safety issue. But that now brings us to the point of this floaty thing, because in all honesty, it looks super odd.
It looks odd. And again, me coming from a biokinetics background, I thought it was absolutely awesome because I understood how water works. But for your general population, it looks weird.
Yeah, it's like this baby with this floating device around his head. And you're thinking, is it comfortable for them? Are they not choking? Is it dangerous for them? How does it work?
So my first thing before I'm going to explain it is a baby will let you know if they're unhappy.
Yes.
We all know that, right?
Maybe while they're choking, they can't help you.
This is not very good for the PR.
I'm just asking the hard questions.
No, of course. No, it's the questions that every mom wants to know. So basically how the floaty works, I first want to explain another property of water is buoyancy.
I know that. I was a diver.
Okay, good. So basically with buoyancy, if you in water up until neck level, you lose 90% of your body weight. The reason why we know that is if we're working with orthopedic injuries, we know from the neck it's 90%, from the shoulder it's 70%, etc., etc., etc. So we slowly but surely make a person more weight bearing. This is now obviously the opposite. So we're working with a baby. A baby, however, versus an adult has less lean muscle tissue, so they lose even more body weight in water. So if we're speaking about a 5 kilogram baby, they weigh less than 500 gram when they're in the water.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So just keep buoyancy in mind. The next thing is that I just want to explain is if you use a pool noodle, does it hurt you?
No, not even remotely.
Exactly. So the pool noodle rests on your pubic bones, right?
Yeah.
The floaty rests on your chin and on the occipital bone, which is a big flat bone at the back of your skull. If the floaty is fitted properly, it should be loose.
Yes.
It's not tight at all.
Oh, yeah.
And it has to be used because if, for example, baby was higher in the water, we won't have the benefits of hydrostatic pressure. Both as well, the arms and legs won't be submerged, so we won't have the benefit of resistance in all planes of motions for the legs and the arms. And thirdly, baby's core muscles would not have to be activated. So the core muscles are activated 100% during the entire session. Because I just want you to imagine this. They in the water and their bottom constantly wants to float to the top because of buoyancy. It's pushing baby up. And then now baby needs to bring the bottom down. They need to stabilize their center of gravity because there's that upward force of buoyancy the whole time. To stabilize, they have to activate their core. And the core muscles are obviously also very important for your gross motor milestones.
Listen here, Tindall, I mean, you could just hear the passion about what you're talking about, and I've learned quite a lot, and I felt I already knew quite a lot, but I can't wait to get into it a little bit more because we're fast running out of time.
This is Bump and Beyond with Yolandi Becker is brought to you with compliments of Dis-Chem Baby City.
And just like that, we are very strongly running out of time. If you've just joined us, don't despair. Luckily, all of this information is available as a podcast afterwards, which you can go listen to at highfm.com. And all of the other shows is on there as well. So if you've got some time over the holidays, maybe you can brush up on your parenting. Because this is what Bump and Beyond is all about, is talking to experts about different topics. And today we talked to Tindall the Brouwer, a biokineticist and mother of two, about exactly that. Biokinetics is hydrotherapy. It's very interesting. And I've already learned quite a lot, and it's wonderful. I mean, it makes me feel good about the fact that my kids swim a lot. But yes, before you go, one last question is that I've spoken about all these baby spas now popping up, but just like everything else, you get really good ones and you get really not so great ones. What should we be looking out for when we're choosing a baby spa?
So I think or feel ideally you should have someone who's got some sort of credibility behind them, whether that's an OT, a physiotherapist, kinderkineticist or bio, or at least some weight, or they've alternatively actually done a course, which by the way we offer as well. So if that's something someone would be interested in opening their own baby spa, they can learn through us as well.
Oh, fantastic.
Then the second thing that you need to look at is obviously hygiene.
No.
It's got to be clean. Are they using
Because you're taking really small
sanitizer?
babies here.
How do they clean their water? What's the water quality like? Is there concern for that? Because if you want to take out your 3-week-old baby, you obviously want to know it's a safe environment to do so, right? The next thing I would look at as well at the facility is, do they consider all the senses? In the sense, is there natural light? What's the wall coloring like? Is it overstimulating or is it calm? Did they think of sound, for example? So
because you don't want it. It's already quite stimulating in the pod.
That's my point.
You don't want it to. You want it to be exactly that. That's maybe why you call it a spa. Now it's coming
there we go.
full circle here at the end. Hey, look at me. Tindall, unfortunately we have run out of time. So just before you go and I say goodbye, where can people, if they come to Pretoria, where are you? Where can they see your beautiful social media pages? Where can they find you?
You can find us on babybubble.co.za or on Instagram at baby_bubble. We have a baby spa. We also offer baby swimming. And then of course, if you're not in Pretoria and you want to open a baby spa, you can learn from the best.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for joining me, Tindall. It was really nice.